Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here, and thank you for joining us from home for our Triangle Center for Spiritual Living morning meditation this Sunday. So, this morning's meditation is titled Peace Amongst the Chaos, and I invite you at this time to close your outer eyes. I'm going to start with the Helen Keller quote. Although the world is full of suffering, it is also full of the overcoming of it. So the meditation is titled Peace Amongst the Chaos, which I've subtitled Mind Your Peace and Cues. We will be taking a dip into our own inner clarity. So let's take a moment to get comfortable in our space and surroundings, allowing the floor or chair beneath you to fully support your body. Roll the head a couple of times. Roll the shoulders and relax them. Move the jaw side to side and then relax the jaw. Relax the tongue. Relax the eyelids. Relax the space between your eyebrows. Feel the body getting heavier. Continue to scan the rest of the body for areas of tension. Relax the area. Let go of whatever tension you're holding. As you breathe on the exhale, release this tension or any angst within the body. Letting yourself feel settled, with the next inhale, take a deep, full breath in through the nose and sigh it out. Again, slowly this time. One more. Deep inhale, open the mouth, release the jaw, sigh it out. Continue breathing naturally now, following the breath as we take this journey inward. At this time in our lives, with current events taking place from close to home to a world away, we are in a shared global human experience of fear, uncertainty, a sense of lack, hopelessness, and anxiety. All are present in the collective consciousness and outpicturing as war, strife, division, and chaos. We know that each of us individually bears responsibility for what we contribute to the collective whole. Rummaging around in a sea of negativity tends to get all over us, the stench inescapable. Or is it? If we can change the channel, turn within, we know on a deeper level that we are not just those human responses. We know that we are spirits having an earthly human experience. Our humanness is easily distracted by images and sound bites available 24/7. We know that. The work, the spiritual calling, is and always will be to find our peace amongst the rubble, found in the center of our being. This peace is divinely planted, ours before we were even named, available as we took our first breath, and with us for eternity. We have absolute sovereignty over our peace of mind. Nothing can rob us of our peace unless we willingly give it up. You decide, consciously or unconsciously, if you let fear, uncertainty, lack, hopelessness, anxiety enter into your awareness. You determine your response. Are you reactive? Are you controlled by hinged emotions from the chaos riding our airwaves? Amongst the chaos, the distractions, are you able to find peace? In a room full of noise, can you hear your own thoughts? Can you, or are you willing to, experience a moment of clarity to balance the scales, so to speak? In this meditation, let us release the distractions around us and connect to the serenity within ourselves. Let's go back to the breath. Follow the movement of the breath, observing the flow, sinking into a natural flow. Inhale and exhale. Breathing through the nose is an innate method the body uses to bring calmness to the being and sedate anxiety. As we breathe, follow the breath as it travels to the lungs and the upper chest. Feel as the shoulders pull down away from the ears and the chest opens. Observe as the breath travels down the arms to the palms and fingers. Follow as the breath travels down into the belly. Feel as the breath expands the diaphragm. And with the next exhale, sink deeper into a state of rest. Can you surrender and let go? We know that the present moment, here and now, is all there is, but can you feel it? Allow the breath to travel down the lower back, releasing pressure and tension in the spine. Breathing down into the hips, down to the legs, letting the breath create space in the knees and joints. Now carry the breath down toward the feet and toes. As you breathe, feel the breath travel unobstructed now through the body. Let yourself be a vessel so the breath can flow through you and out. Sink deeper into this flow. In your mind's eye, find yourself in a serene space. Where are you? What surrounds you? Observe the beauty and the peace that encompasses you in this space. Let this be your sacred space, a moment of clarity. As thoughts and emotions arise that are contrary to this serenity, simply observe them without attachment. Allowing the inhale of breath and with the exhale, release the distractions back into the ether from which they came, sinking deeper into the serenity, into your sacred space. While here, notice the source of water. Maybe your space has a stream or pond, a river or lake or ocean. Whatever appears to you is fine. Walk to the water. Feel as the water touches your toes and feet. Water is a cleansing element. It helps to purify the body's spirit, allowing ourselves to be reborn. Gently walk into the water. Submerge yourself in its healing presence. The temperature is perfect. Liquid warmth. Feel as your body and spirit are bathed and cleansed, releasing any discomfort, suffering, agitation of the being. The physical self is stripped from toxins, from dis-ease, from aches. The emotional self is calm and at ease, held and supported. The mind is freed from repetitive negative thoughts, free to just be here now. Here exists, right now. The spirit within is at peace. Let yourself return to a state of pure joy as the being bathes in the water. Stay breathing. Stay connected. With the next inhale, see yourself emerging from the depths of the water back to the shore. Feel the hot sun warm the body, allowing the heat to move freely through your being. Bask in the sunlight. Feel the light breeze. Let yourself elevate to a higher place, enveloped by your sacred space. Consciously acknowledge that this space exists for you, that it is a few deep breaths away at any time. Continue breathing into this space, loving the space you're in. We know that we're not leaving this place behind because it's within us. It is ours, and it exists simultaneously as every other thing out there. So the invitation this week, or possibly forever, is to not spend any of our energy on what we're against, but to continuously turn to the reservoir that we've created of what we're for, to put our energy into that. What a beautiful place we've each created. Thank you for joining us today, this morning, for this meditation. We hope that you will stay tuned for our service at 10:15. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome. Woo! Yeah, I love it. Welcome to the Triangle Center for Spiritual Living. I'm very glad to see all of you here in 4 Points by Sheridan in our sanctuary. And also, thank you all so very much for inviting us into your homes today. We know you're there, we can feel you there, and I'm just very grateful that you have decided to join us. For those of you who may not know me, my name is Dusty Rippelmeyer, and I have the privilege and the honor of being this community's spiritual director. We're part of a larger organization called Centers for Spiritual Living. And at Centers for Spiritual Living, we believe that there is one power and presence that is back of everything that there is, the creative energy that created everything, and that includes each and every single one of us. Now, some people will call it God, some people call it love, some people call it peace, some people call it Buddha, some people call it Jesus. It goes by very many different names, but the truth is that it is an energy that is benevolent, an energy that is all around us, everywhere at all times, in its fullness and in its wholeness. And since we were created in its image and likeness, because God is creative, then we are creative too. And in fact, we have been creating the experiences of our lives, all of our lives, whether we have been aware of it or not. Sometimes we do it consciously, and sometimes we do it unconsciously. And for those of you that are thinking in this moment, oh no, that's not the truth, because I would never create this life. But if it is true, which I believe that it is, then I think it's the good news, because if I don't like what I'm experiencing in this moment, that I know that I have the ability to change it. Change your thinking, change your life is more than just a bumper sticker. And we come here on Sundays and Wednesday evenings for our Wednesday evening service. We have classes and we do social things to come together to support each other as we walk this spiritual path, to be able to remind each other who we truly are when we're struggling to remember that. And so we are very glad that you have decided to join us today. Thank you all so very much. I have a few announcements for us this morning before we get started with the service. And that is an announcement about Brianne Stagg's Breath Workshop. Now, here at the Triangle Center for Spiritual Living, we always talk about doing the inner work. And this breath workshop is an opportunity to really be able to do that inner work. Uh, this type of breath work that she does is called neurodynamic breath work, which is also known as conscious breath work. And with conscious breathing has been recognized as a really powerful tool for self exploration and personal growth within various cultures for thousands of years. By accessing your innate healing abilities and tapping into your inner wisdom, there is a profound process of reconnecting with your true essence on a soul level. And so the invitation is to come and join Brianne for this session that she will hold next Sunday, October 29th, following service from 12:15 until you'll be out of here by 4 o'clock for sure. The suggested fee is $45 with a sliding scale of anywhere from 25 to 55. So whatever you feel you can pay, then that's what you can pay. We never want anybody to not be able to do something that they really want to do because of money. So please talk with someone around that. Registration is required prior to next Sunday because a health form must be filled out. So if you go to our website or if you receive our Wednesday newsletter, there is a link to the registration. You click on that, you will be electronically sent this health form, and then you fill that out and send it back. If you have any questions, you can email Brianne at mandalabreathwork@gmail.com. It's there, or you can write to Heather at info at trianglecsl.com. So please come and join us for that. Though she did this for our meditation retreat, and it was well received by everyone. Everyone had some kind of a shift that happened within them. It was a miraculous day. So please consider coming and joining us for that. There has been one constant contact announcement that went out, but in case you didn't receive it, we are doing the 28 days of gratitude, magic gratitude practices again this year. So what this means is that every morning from November 1st through November 28th, you will receive a different gratitude practice electronically from me. And it's through the now I'm having a senior moment. I can't remember her name in this moment, but anyway, we will send those out, and you can participate in them. There's always some action item that you will do, and it's a really lovely way to bring more gratitude into your lives. So please write to Heather at info@trianglecsl.org, and please sign up for that, or you can write to me at dustyrippelmeyer@yahoo.com, and I will make sure that you get on the list to receive those 28 days of gratitude. Another announcement, just to get on your calendar, November 12th, Sunday, November 12th, following service, we are having a bazaar. For those of you that haven't heard, we're having a holiday bazaar, and all kinds of people from the community and even outside of the community who have some craft to sell, some service that they do, some music that they're selling, some apparel, some spiritual items, some holiday decor, some food, some woodworking, and artwork. So we're going to have all kinds of different things to sell. And perfect, November 12th, for getting some of your holiday gift shopping done and out of the way. So please, it will open at noon, and we expect a large attendance. So come early for the best selection. Most of these things are one of a kind. So please come and join us for that. If you have any other questions, and also if you have some craft that you'd like to sell, please reach out to us, because we do have space for a few more tables. So reach out to Heather Abbott or Eileen Proctor at 919-526-0206. That's 919-526-0206 for Eileen Proctor. And the last announcement is to get on your calendar. We're beginning another class this late fall, early winter, and it is exploring the roots of science of mind. And it will be facilitated by Reverend Betty Harris. And it is really to be able to have a deeper understanding of the historical roots in America of Ernest Holmes's philosophy, The Science of Mind. Specific emphasis is given to the works of Thomas Troward, Emma Curtis Hopkins, and Ralph Waldo Emerson. Now, the texts that we use for this are The Science of Mind, Emerson's essays, the Edinburgh Lectures, and Scientific Christian Mental Practice by Emma Curtis Hopkins. This is a certified CSL class, and it's required if you are thinking about going on to becoming a practitioner. Now, there is a prerequisite for it. You have to have taken foundations. So anybody that's interested, please go on our website and register for the class for a $50 deposit, and the class tuition is $245. Payment plans are available. If you need or would like some kind of a payment plan organized, please reach out to Heather, and she will assist you in doing that. Speaking of Reverend Betty Harris, I'm going to thank I'm going to thank the one who actually did it, not Reverend Penny, but Michelle Love for her beautiful meditation. That would probably be the prudent thing to do, right? So thank you to Michelle Love for the beautiful meditation that expanded the container that our service will unfold within. And now, talking about Michelle Love, let's please welcome her back up to the podium. Sorry, honey.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being with us at home. So, our theme for the year 2023 is Living Out Loud. Our theme for the month of October is Playing with Paradox. I almost said paradise. Yeah. Reverend Dusty's talk title, let me do this. Ah, Reverend Dusty's talk title is The Tyranny of Or and the Genius of And. I am now going to read this community's purpose statement. This is our reason for being here. Our purpose is to inspire, educate, and empower individuals to experience themselves as unique and individualized expressions of God, the love intelligence that governs the universe. We are committed to not merely a theoretical understanding of our oneness and unity with God, but to consciously practice this truth in our everyday lives. Through celebration, service, study, and fellowship, we are committed to the transformation of our personal lives and to being a powerful and beneficial presence on the planet. With the energy of unconditional love, simply, we are here for God, and so it is. So at this time, I invite you to close your outer eyes as you turn within, opening your heart and mind and allowing the sounds of the crystal bowls simply to wash over you.
bring your attention back into the room and for the people who are the candle lighters to come forward for now. Oops. Yes. The Triangle Center for Spiritual Living honors the diversity and threads of truth that run through all spiritual paths, as represented by this ceremony. And we please welcome these people who are assisting this morning. Christianity is the path of Christ's consciousness, love, and forgiveness. Buddhism is the path of compassion and understanding. Judaism is the ethical path of living by sacred law. Baha'i is the path of unity and peace. Islam is the path of submission to the will of God, the highest calling. Confucianism is the path of deliberate tradition. Taoism is the natural way, the path of ultimate reality. Native American practice and shamanic traditions are the paths of primal spirituality. Shintoism is the path of tribal ancestry. Hinduism is the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. Science of mind and spirit is the path of the divine principle of love and law. And the heart represents the one heart, the one love that resides at the center of all people and all beings everywhere, with no exceptions. May peace prevail on earth through the followers of all paths. Thank you. And I invite you to join me as we move into a moment of prayer. We recognize that we are here as part of, as creations of the one God that is over all people, all things, all times. And so, knowing that we are part of that, knowing that we are part with one another, I simply bless this time this morning. Bless this service. I bless the volunteers, the speaker, and the musicians. Specifically, I speak a word of blessing on Sandy Hemingway, who comes before us to bring music, to enlighten us, to inspire us, to help us move into the center of this ceremony. I speak a word too, Martin Ludwell and Ava Ingram, as they not only keep this ceremony, keep this in place for today for those of us who are here, but who do the same thing for people who are watching out in the land beyond us. I speak a word of blessing too on Jim Rigsby, who is visiting with us today, knowing that he is moving from one way of serving God into another, and that he is here to share with us today, and we welcome him. I speak a word of blessing on Reverend Dusty as she brings to us a different way, a deeper look at some part of what is going on today. We are blessed by her presence and by her sharing with us her understanding of the reality of the world. And so with great gratitude for all of the things that we have, for all of the experiences that we are free to explore, I simply let this go, and I invite you to join me as we say together, and so it is. Now, the reading for today is from the founder of integral theory. His name is Ken Wilber, And I don't know that we've had a reading from him before, but it's a very short one. He says, when the opposites are realized to be one, discord melts into concord. Battles become dances, and old enemies become lovers. We then make friends with all of our universe and not just one half of it. And I would like to introduce Sandy Hemingway to bring us some music this morning.
Thank you. So this is the second time this month I had to come up with music for Paradox. And the interesting thing is when I saw the talk topic was the tyranny of or, instead of coming up with two different songs about Paradox, it is the pair themselves that is the paradox. These are two songs off of Daniel Nahmod's CD Cornerstone, and I noticed when I was learning these a few years ago that there are messages in the different songs that at first glance seem contradictory, but they're all very true. And the two songs that I'm going to play today are "Slow It Down" and "Why Wait." And they're both very true and both very necessary. And this is "Slow It Down." People say the world is always speeding up, that there's hardly even time enough for love, that Mother Nature doesn't get things done the way that humans can. We must never stand in the way of progress. It's time to slow it down, slow it down, slow it down now. It's time to take a breath, slow it down. It's time to look around at where we are now, what we've become, where we're headed. Time to slow it down. Time to slow it down. I don't buy what these Google folks are selling, that we should all be living at the speed of light. Seems like all these glowing screens are always yelling to fill my head, but never give me peace of mind. It's time to slow it down, slow it down, slow it down now. It's time to take a breath and slow it down. It's time to look around at where we are now, at who we've become, and where we're headed. It's time to slow it down. Time to slow it down. Time to slow it down. Slow it down. Time to slow it down. Slow it down. Slow it down. you.
Woo. Thank you so very much, Sandy. I don't know. You're absolutely right. What was I thinking? 4 songs about paradox. Yikes. But I knew you could rise to the occasion, and I love the playfulness with which you chose the ones for today. So thank you so very much for that. Welcome to those of you who may have just arrived in the sanctuary, or perhaps have just turned your television sets on at home. Now, you don't have to raise your hands or out yourself in any way, but how many of you have ever heard yourself saying something like, either I have time for my family or I have time for self-care? Either I have time for recreation or I have time for self-growth and development. Either I have time to really be able to take care of myself or to take care of others. We're either a cat person or a dog person, a Republican or a Democrat, a feminist or a sexist. People either love their country or they're unpatriotic, believe in climate change or are a climate change denier, a winner or a loser. We can either be an artist or we can make a living. We can either further our education by going to a university or we could end up in the poorhouse. We could have a high-paying, boring job, or we could have a low-paying, really fun job. If you're not a vegetarian, then for gosh sakes, of course, you don't care about animal welfare. If you're not with me, then you must be against me. And if you're not part of the solution, then you have to be part of the problem. Our culture really teaches us to think in opposites. Hot and cold, light and dark, right and wrong, and so on. If we approach life from that perspective, then we are engaging in either or thinking. Something is either good or bad, right or wrong. We either win or lose. The Western mind is really highly trained in this kind of thinking. It's rational, right? It's really rational and dualistic. Dualistic thinking is all about comparison. It's all about differentiation. It's all about splitting apart. In essence, it views the world as either this or that. This or that, either, potato, potato, tomato, tomato. Slow down, but why wait? I mean, it's all around us. Either or. Now, there's many different types of this kind of thinking, this way of looking at the world, and they can include the false dilemma. Now, in the false dilemma, we're referring to a situation where we might think that there are only 2 possibilities available, when in truth, there are many different options that are worth considering. A second way of thinking would be black or white thinking. Black and white thinking is where a person's views and their ideas are absolute. They're either good or bad, right or wrong, successful or failure, for example. Now, this is an approach that fails to see the complexity by oversimplifying reality. This black and white thinking really pits absolutes against absolutes, and it absolutely leaves no room for context or for nuance. The third way is all or nothing thinking. All or nothing thinking is where people see or think about the situation in extreme or all-encompassing terms. And it's very similar to black and white thinking, but it typically involves either success or failure. And the people thinking in all or nothing think that something has to be perfect or else it's hopeless. It's either perfect or it's hopeless, and nothing in between. Another way of thinking is polarized thinking. And in polarized thinking, there's a thought pattern in which people are judged as being on opposite ends of a spectrum with absolutely no ground in the middle. So people are put on opposite ends of this spectrum. And this form of thinking has become very common in recent years because of social media. Because of social media, whose algorithms really have pushed people into political bubbles or religious bubbles or cultural bubbles, right, in which the other bubbles are demonized. And the fifth way of thinking about this, and last one, is binary thinking. And binary thinking is another way to talk about this either or fallacy, black or white, just a little subtly little different. The word binary refers to either 0 or 1. 0 or 1, two options again with absolutely nothing in between. Two options with nothing in between. It dismisses any possibility that something could exist between the two or outside of the two categories. Now, the bottom line is that this either or fallacy really presents a choice between two dichotomies. The individual is faced with a choice to have to say yes to one of them and to completely reject the other one. Compromise or out-of-the-box thinking is absolutely not an option. Now, most of us engage in this either or thinking from time to time. In fact, some experts think that the origins of this kind of thinking came from our need to survive, from long ago when our ancestors needed to survive, and it involved our fight or flight responses. It's a primal kind of thinking, and it can be observed when we choose to compress really complex thoughts into really simplistic categories in order to be able to make more rapid choices when we're in the middle of some kind of a crisis or we're in the middle of some kind of a conflict. So it allows us to make really rapid kinds of choices. So there are definitely times when thinking in black and white or either or all or nothing might be appropriate and actually advantageous. You're walking down a path and a tiger all of a sudden appears in front of you. It might be best to think in an all or nothing category. The challenge, however, is that people often fall into the trap of limiting themselves by limiting their choices. When faced with a decision, many of us will stop at these two ideas. And most of the time, those two ideas are very polarized, one from the other. So, for example, we might choose between the good versus the bad, or the quick versus the slow, or the hard versus the easy, right? The known versus the unknown. When in fact, there are many, many more options. Now, the choices that we might make may come from a mindset of limitation or a mindset of lacking or a mindset of scarcity, from a belief that we can't or that we shouldn't look beyond the old ways of thinking that we've always used, the old patterns that we've always fallen into that we shouldn't or that we can't look beyond them. External impacts such as like time constraints or different social, personal, or professional pressure might also influence on our choices. Whatever the reason, if we don't stop, to take a moment to reflect and to consciously determine whether this particular either or is the best option that will serve us in our highest and best way, instead of exploring whatever else is possible, then we might miss out on all the many different options that are available, on all the many different possibilities or opportunities or approaches that we could be using to look at a particular situation. If we don't take the time to stop and to reflect on it, if we just automatically go into that fight or flight dualistic thinking, then we're going to miss out. We allow ourselves the richness and the various layers and the depth that life can offer us when we move from a black and white existence into one that actually takes us beyond that really simple either or, all or nothing, black and white kind of thinking. Life is rich, and we can tap into that when we take the time. Professional counselor Aldo R. Pucci says, people unintentionally cheat themselves out of a great deal of happiness when they think in all or nothing terms. It is viewing things as only one way or another. Most things in life have a middle ground, like a light connected to a dimmer switch. There are degrees to which the light is on. Avoid making the all or none mistake by considering the possibility of a middle ground. Consider that possibility. Now, a few weeks ago, I went to Fayetteville, Arkansas to celebrate my birthday with my family. And on Saturday morning, we went to their weekly farmers market that's held in the beautiful Fayetteville town square. And a number of the stores around the square were already opened, and my sister-in-law Nadine wanted me to go and visit this one particular one. So we went in, and as we went in, I was drawn to a display of books. And the display of books, very prominent on it, I think in fact it probably was the only book there, was by Matthew McConaughey. It's a new book that he has written called Just Because. And the book is illustrated by Renee Cruilla. Now, as I opened up this book and began to take a look at the words and the pictures, I realized that this was just really another way of looking at this idea of either or. And it's going to be a little bit different, but you can see how that it can be either or. Very polarized look at some of these different ideas. So I wanted to share a few of the ideas and a few of the illustrations with you today. Maybe. Yeah. Just because I'm sitting still doesn't mean that I'm not busy. Just because I let go doesn't mean I stopped climbing. Just because they say it's so doesn't mean that you shouldn't do it. Just because you can pull it off, doesn't mean just because they say it's so doesn't mean it happened to me. Just because you threw shade doesn't mean I'm out of the sun. Just because they don't hear you doesn't mean you don't have a voice. Just because you're alone doesn't mean that there's not a crowd. Just because it's silent doesn't mean that it's not loud. Just because it felt right then doesn't mean that it won't feel wrong. Just because you're a bully doesn't mean that you are strong. Just because they let you down doesn't mean you got to get low. Just because they're clumsy doesn't mean that they have no flow. Now, make no mistake about it. The point here is not to completely discard dualistic thinking. It is and can be significant. It is and can be very important to us. It tells us that we should stop at a red light or to continue to keep going forward at a green one. The point is simply to be aware of its limitations and to really understand that some phenomenon, some situations, some circumstances really call for an entirely different, non-dualistic mind. There are times when this or that gets us where we want to go, and other times when it's applied to everything, simply causes us to run into some problems. It's not the only way to sense the world around us. Sometimes we would be better off following the path of this and that, or both and thinking. Both and thinkers scan for information to be able to see how opposing ideas are distinct and different, while also at the same time looking for how they can be linked and how they can work together for the benefit of everyone. Rather than choosing between two options, they embrace competing demands simultaneously. Both and says that we can and that we certainly will feel more than one thing at a time. We can feel both grateful and resentful for the pressures of parenthood. We can feel both exhilarated by a high-pressured position and overwhelmed by the sacrifices that it might demand. We can feel both appreciative to stay at home with our kids and trapped by the routine. We can both love our career and wish we had more time with our family. We can feel both ambitious and content. Both and honors the full, complicated reality that life presents. When we experience a devastating loss like death or a divorce or a breakup or life changes, we can feel both grief and relief. We can feel both sadness and gratitude and overwhelm and anger. We can feel both devastated by a relationship's end and confident that it was the right and perfect choice to make. Both and. In addition to making room for multiple emotions to occur, both and makes room for multiple people's experiences. Right? For multiple people's experiences, regardless of whose is worse. Instead of downplaying our experience because somebody else has it worse, both and really allows that both of us can feel what we are feeling, that both of us can really experience what we experience, knowing that there is room enough for everyone's pain, knowing that everyone has a right to their experience, regardless of what someone else is experiencing, both and. Not a revolutionary, perhaps, but in a world that really promotes a zero sum approach to emotional responses and individual situations, both and will literally crack your world right open. Both and creates breathing room so that we can move through the experiences of our lives without judgment, our own or anybody else's. Richard Rohr says, and teaches us to say yes, allows us to be both, and keeps us from either or, and is willing to wait for insight and integration, and keeps us from dualistic thinking, assists us to live in the always imperfect now, keeps us inclusive and compassionate toward everything, and heals our race schism, sexism, heterosexism, sexism, and classism, to name just a few, and keeps us from the false choice of liberal or conservative, allows us to critique both sides of things, allows us to enjoy both sides of things, and is far beyond any one nation or political party, and allows us to ask for forgiveness and to apologize, is the mastery of paradox in all things, makes daily practical love possible, and is far beyond my religion versus your religion. Spirituality is full of paradox. We talk about masculine and feminine energy. We talk about consciousness and matter. We talk about living in the world but not of the world. We talk about our inner and our outer landscape. We talk about what we are seeking is seeking us, to name just a few. The Chinese symbol of yin and yang is a really wonderful symbol that really represents this genius of and. We know that these seemingly opposites are really just two sides of the same coin. Spirituality has been calling us, literally calling us for thousands of years to let go of our either or thinking, to embrace the possibility of and to really step into something new in our lives. Science of mind holds a unique perspective in that it is a valuable and necessary to continue to move forward both individually and collectively. Studying science of mind lends itself to this really paradoxical mindset. And that paradoxical mindset is really necessary to heal the challenges of the world today. It's really necessary to bring our outer manifestations as a collective into alignment with the truth of our inner oneness. The key is in our willingness to stay open. The key is in our willingness to be curious as we begin to explore options and possibilities that have yet to be discovered. I remember one time I had a circle up on the screen. How much of this circle, if this circle is everything you know, everything that's ever been known throughout all of time, how much of that do you know? And you, in your mind's eye, I asked you to take a little slice of the pie. How much do you know that you know? And then to ask, how much of it do you know that you don't know? And the answer was that it's a dot. It's a dot. That's everything I know and everything I don't know, and everything else is everything I don't even know that I don't know. There are things to be discovered, possibilities, endless waves of possibilities in the universe we can't even begin to imagine. Be curious. Be willing to let go of that either or. Ernest Holmes understood that we can see from both perspectives simultaneously, that our objective experience, what we are experiencing in the world today, is real, and the truth is just behind it. The truth of our oneness, the truth of our peace, the truth of our love, the truth of our joy is just behind whatever it is that we are experiencing right now. We can hold them both to be true. And both of them must be held and known simultaneously in order for us to truly step up and create a world that works for everyone. We're being called to embrace the and in everything that we do, as we support one another in shifting our thinking, as we support one another when we stand firmly grounded in the one mind. Each of us has the ability to live our lives from the genius of the and we will find that and just beyond our comfort zone. Just beyond our comfort zone. We must be willing to change. And that's not always easy for us, right? We must be willing to set down our preconceived ideas, our old beliefs, our cultural mindsets, our childhood patterns, our either or thinking, and step into something absolutely brand new. What we have been doing has not been working. Be willing to step into something new. The 13th century Sufi mystic Rumi wrote, "Out beyond ideas of wrongdoing and right doing, there is a field. I will meet you there. I will meet you there." You just got goosebumps. I saw it. In our world today, we can see the tyranny of or in almost every aspect of life. For generations, we have chosen between seeming paradoxes, right? Look at how polarized everything is today. But that has put us in this place where we're standing on this precipice of everything falling apart. The systems and ways of thinking that we've been utilizing until now are no longer really sustainable. We no longer get to choose between economic growth or taking care of people, technological advances or preserving the environment, being conservative or liberal, tearing down our societal systems or holding them up no matter what, taking care of ourselves or taking care of others, personal safety or collective freedom. The list goes on and on. Our world is full of polarities that are pushing us to the breaking point in many different ways. We have to be so committed. We have to be so committed to really being curious. We have to be so committed to being willing to change. We have to be so committed to really letting go of this either or. But that hasn't been what we've been doing in the past. We've been really unable or unwilling to look at all of the different solutions that are available and to really begin to think about thinking in a brand new way. We're at a tipping point that requires us to step into a new way of being or to risk being swallowed up by our outdated mindset. We can either continue to hold tightly to those beliefs or ideas or old systems that we know are no longer working for us, or choose to willingly let go in order to begin to build systems that do work, systems that we work together. We can use our teachings, the science of mind, to really step away from the tyranny of or that our world has lived in for so long and step powerfully into the genius of and I'll just leave you with a couple more things from Matthew McConaughey. Just because we disagree doesn't mean that you're not right. There's how I see it and how you see it and what will come to be. And so it is. Thank you all. Thank you all. Please turn within for a moment of prayer. As I close my outer eyes, symbolically turning away from the world of form, and allow myself to turn my attention and intention to the center of my being, to that spark of the divine that is within me, to that Christ consciousness, to unconditional love, to boundless joy, to the peace that passes all understanding. I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that I am one with it. I was created by it, in its image and likeness. Therefore, right where I am, God is in its fullness and in its wholeness. And what I know is that this can't be just true for me. It has to be true for each and every single one of us. Those of us sitting here at 4 Points, those of us that are watching this service live, those will watch it later. Everyone in our community, the Triangle Center for Spiritual Living, all sentient beings on the planet, we are a one, connected by this golden thread of God's stuff that weaves itself throughout all of life. We are connected to God, connected to life, and connected to each other in ways that can never be broken. One human family. And what I know about this one human family is that we are all spiritual beings having a human incarnation, that we have everything that we need within us to create a world that works for everyone. And what I claim for each of us is that with ease and grace, we can let go of the either or thinking that gets us into trouble. Keep it when it's necessary for quick choices, for survival choices, and to let go of it in those moments when they're too polarized, when they don't allow for the depth and the richness of life itself, when they don't allow for the depth and the richness of each and every individualized expression of the divine, knowing that we all bring ourselves and our uniqueness to the table. Ease and grace around being able to be curious, ease and grace about being able to see how we can blend together, find that middle point, find that common ground, and create something that works for everyone. Because in a world of limitless possibilities, that possibility exists. It simply has not been discovered. It has not been observed. And so it's still a wave of possibility and has yet to become a particle, but become a particle it can if we truly just know and allow for everyone's experience, for everyone's wisdom, for everyone's insight, knowing that we bring our fullest expression of the divine to everything that we do. That right where we are, God is in every situation, and so we can find that presence when we allow ourselves to step outside of the boxes that we've been thinking from for so long now and allow ourselves to be open to the newness of possibility. I'm so grateful to know this truth and to speak these words. So grateful for the power of prayer, knowing that these words are loosed into a law that only ever says yes, that my words are clothed in form even as they are spoken. And so I speak them and I release them into the law, letting go and letting God be God. And I invite all of us to anchor this prayer for ourselves, for each other, for our community, and for the world, simply by saying, and so it is. Amen. Thank you all so very much. Thank you. It is now time for our conscious giving. The Triangle Center for Spiritual Living is sustained by the giving of our time, talent, and treasure. This is the time every week when we offer financial assistance to assist this community to continue to be a beacon of light and warmth and love in the Greater Triangle area. Together, we affirm the truth that today's offering lifts this spiritual community, prospers the one giving, and adds to the energy of sufficiency on the planet. There are 3 different ways that you can give. They are here on your screen or on your screen at home. Visit our website at www.trianglecsl.org. You can text the word give to the following number, 919-230-8445, or you can mail your gift to our office at PO Box 4062, Cary, North Carolina, 27519. In this moment, I invite you to take your gift, place it against your heart with an intention for yourself or for your family or for this community, and repeat our offering affirmation in a call and response. Please repeat after me. I live in an abundant universe that blesses and prospers my life. I give with gratitude, knowing that God is my source. And so it is. Thank you all so very much for your generosity. We really appreciate it. And now let's give a little appreciation to our awesome, magnificent singer, Sandy Hemingway.
So while Dusty was talking, I was reminded of an incident some 30 years ago. It was just after Christmas, and a coworker had gotten a book on logical or ethical dilemmas, and it was, here's the situation: do you choose A or B? And the purpose of this book was to find about your personality. But the lady that was asking these questions would ask them and give me options A and B, and I would say, well, I would do C. And it was like, oh wow, I hadn't thought of that. And about the 4th time in a row I did that, she goes, well, you're missing the point of the whole book. But that was just naturally how my mind worked. I don't like conflict, and so I naturally seek out solutions. How can we not have this conflict? And that's what almost everything Dusty said is about. It's about how can we reduce the conflict, especially between other people, but also within ourselves. And most of it is, it takes work. It takes more effort to come up with a solution that's not on the page before you. Oh, there's 2 solutions. I don't like it, but I'll choose that one. That's easy. It takes more work. And sometimes we don't want to do work. But sometimes we need to do work. And if we do, why wait? heard this kind of story. Somebody's diagnosed that their time is suddenly short. And in the back of our minds, we wonder, what if that news was mine? Would we do more of the same with the moments that remain? Would we live like we were dying? I'll wait for that fateful fall, for that wake-up call. I'll wait till it's too late. There's only We've all heard this kind of story. An earthquake strikes the coast of a distant land. Seems like every time we come together as humankind, we make a different choice. Kindness cuts through all the noise, and we're suddenly united. I'll wait for that pouring rain, for that hurricane. I'll wait till it's too late. There is only today. Why wait? Oh, when an ambulance goes by, everybody pulls aside. The holidays put smiles on every face. Tell me, what's the reason why we need excuses to decide we are part of only one human race? We've all heard this kind of story. Somebody keeps their dream a secret all their life. I'll wait. I'll wait. 'Cause if we don't try, oh, that dream may die. I'll wait till it's too late. Let the future fall away. Let regret evaporate. There is only today. Why wait? Thank you.
Thank you. If anyone would like prayer, please go to our website at thetrianglecsl.org. And on the home page, there is a button in the upper right-hand corner. click on that button and fill in the request form. We will get that prayer and send it out to all the ministers and practitioners. If anyone would like to dedicate a flower dedication to anyone for anything, please contact Heather Abbott at info@trianglecsl.org or our Reverend Dusty at dustyrippelmeyer@yahoo.com. So in the comfort of your own home and here, please stand for our October affirmation. This is a call and response. I am very clear that I am a spiritual being. I am also very clear that I am living a human experience. Both perspectives are needed in my life. If I am so focused on oneness, I may miss the opportunity to embrace the totality of my humanity. Therefore, I am curious and open to possibility as I explore the various paradoxes in my life. I think I missed something. Well, we'll just go on. Realizing the truth that there is no separation allows me to open my mind to a greater understanding of the world. My mind. Embracing the genius of and thinking, I know that my journey is both good and hard, playful and serious, necessary and optional, and that all is well. And serious, necessary and optional, and that all is well. And so it is. Have a seat. Just one final moment to turn within and to recognize that we have been together here in the presence of God as the presence of God. I speak a word of positive expectation for this coming week, that all is well, that we move forward with joy, that we find ways to be helpful in the world, and that we remember that we are part of God. And so it is. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for your presence here today, for inviting us into your homes. Have a really magnificent week. Remember, the breath workshop is next weekend. If you're interested in that, please go to the website, sign up so that you can fill out the health form, and make it a good day, a good week. I love you all.